I'm in my early 30s now, and I've been thinking a lot about my 20s. Would I do anything different if I had a chance? What can I take from all this experience and apply it in the next decade, the next chapter of life? So this video goes out to my past self, because I know that he's sitting out there watching YouTube instead of doing anything useful. So let's start with that. You lazy, procrastinating piece of I know you're sitting there and thinking about all the stuff that you want to do in life instead of actually doing it. If there is one thing that you should do in your 20s, it's to do stuff. Whatever it is. You can fail, that's fine, that's what 20s are for. Nobody expects you to be successful in your 20s except for you. If you are, great. If you're not, that's fine. I'm not saying that you can't do anything when you get older, I'm just saying that 20s is the time when you should do most new stuff. I used to read books in my early 20s and it's kind of sad that I don't anymore, but I remember reading On Shortness of Life, an essay by Seneca, in which he says, "It is not that we have so little time, but that we lose so much. The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill-provided, but use what we have wastefully." And I have definitely wasted a lot of my time. I don't regret it, I enjoyed my wasted time, but with hindsight, I see that with very little effort, I could have done way more. I always wanted to write books, and it's kind of funny that in my head I still feel like a writer, even though I haven't written anything for years. But I used to take productivity tips like write 10 minutes every day with a grain of salt. Either do something properly, just sit for hours and hours and hours, or just don't do it at all. I usually work best under pressure. Give me a deadline and I'll do stuff, but I'll do it the night before. Always, no matter what. Doesn't matter if you give me a week, a month or a year. I will always do things last minute possible. But for your own projects, nobody gives you deadlines because nobody cares. Except for you. So now I realize that if I actually wrote 10 minutes every single day for past 10 years, I would have spent over 600 hours writing, which probably means a book or two. Instead, I'm sitting here with no book ever written, or anything of any meaning. So yes, go do stuff even if it's just for a little bit, but stick with it. You will learn over time how to recognize what things to pursue and what things to let go. Now that I'm in my 30s, I know that writing wasn't one of those things because it keeps haunting my mind. I was very relaxed about writing because I felt like I was talented enough. Maybe it sounds cocky to say, but that's how I felt. So I thought that whenever I actually decide to write something, it will just work out. That's a recipe for disaster, and I'm here to tell you that your talent doesn't mean shit. Because if your talent isn't matched by persistence or discipline, it won't get you anywhere. You have to show up and do the work, whatever you want to be. There are no writers without writing, no musicians without composing, or no entrepreneurs without starting businesses. Another thing that I felt like I was mildly talented at was running, but it wasn't until 2013 when I actually gave it a shot. I started in March that year and I was completely out of shape, completely out of breath, completely out of everything. Just 5 minutes of run would make me out of breath and I couldn't run a kilometer or two without stopping or switching with walking. 3 months later, I ran the first 10k race in 50 minutes. Beginning of September, I ran the first half marathon in 1:42, and 2 weeks later, I ran another one in 1:37. I was getting better so fast, I didn't want to slow down and I started preparing for a full marathon. And then winter came, I got sick, stopped running and never returned to it after that. I'm saying all of this just to emphasize the fact that no matter how talented you think you are, it has to come with dedication. Dedication that a lot of times will come with doubt from other people around you. Don't listen to them. People tend to put their own limitations on you, so whatever they can do, they will apply to you as well. It's nothing but noise and it shouldn't stop you. It might slow you down, but learn as fast as possible to ignore this mumble. Not caring what other people think is one of the biggest lessons that I wish I learned sooner. You will also be expected to do certain things, but if you feel like they are not right for you, don't be afraid to listen to your gut. Since high school, I was dreaming of traveling, but instead I went to university. I was too distracted by building my own path to finish it and I dropped out. But because I was expected to have a degree, I started attending what I considered an easier field of study. I hated it, I despised the teachers and they didn't like me either. After 3 years and finishing the bachelor's thesis, they didn't give me the diploma. I failed even though I passed all the exams throughout the years. I ended up with a total of 4 years wasted, no diploma and hate for the system. Deep inside, I always knew that in the life that I want, nobody will care what sort of diploma I have. This doesn't apply to everyone, I know, but For me, I knew that I don't want to be in like a corporate environment or be a doctor or anything like that. So I wish that I took a gap year and started traveling sooner. If I knew what I wanted to do in life and then go study that field, I think it would end up in many upsides. First, I would actually care about it. Second, I wouldn't hate every single day I had to be in class. And third, I would probably respect the teachers more. Since this is turning into a list of fails in my life, I want you, my 20 years old self, to know that you did something amazing and that was your first travel. At the age of 24, I went for a volunteering project in Japan, my dream destination since I was a child. Spending 3 months in a rural area, hanging out with locals and understanding the value of community in a country affected by natural disasters was the most fulfilling and self-realizing thing I've done in my life. I spent years after this experience trying to recreate that feeling, that journey, and just recently I learned a very valuable lesson at the age of 32 to not hold on to the old experiences too much. I was trying so desperately to go back to that moment in my past that I forgot to enjoy what was happening in the present. If you have that significant life-changing experience, be happy it happened in the first place. Hold it close to your heart, but move on and look forward to new experiences and opportunities that life will bring you. Here's another Seneca quote, so whatever I just said sounds more philosophical. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. So yeah, keep your memories close and enjoy what's in front of you. Don't be afraid of what's to come. Things will always figure themselves out. I used to be stressed by the prospect of future. What if I'm not where I want to be? Or what if I'm not successful in whatever? Just what ifs everywhere. Don't worry about it. Just because you might not end up where you thought you will, it doesn't mean it's bad. And let's be honest, you probably won't end up in your imaginary finish line anyway. What would be the point of that? You know, if we knew exactly where we are going to end up and what are we going to do, it would be a very dull life. You were right about one thing though, and that is to seek new experiences purposefully. For the best things in life, you have to get out of your comfort zone and go get them yourself. And most of the time, you won't even know what that thing or experience is. It's like a mystery box. You set out on an adventure, expecting something to come out of it, but it's not until after that experience is over when you realize what it was actually about. And yes, I realize I basically quoted Forrest Gump right now.
Life was like a box of chocolates.
But look, I'm not the most adventurous person ever. I like my comfort, I like being lazy and watch stupid videos online. But in my 20s, I did few steps outside of that bubble, and every time I did, it taught me something. About me, about life, about other people, and I probably could have done more. So this is something that I wish to take to my 30s, to get out of that comfort zone a little bit more often, which is gonna be harder in my 30s now than it was in my 20s, that's for sure. Now, on a more personal note, relationships. They are hard sometimes, but you should learn to understand your value and value of other people as well. You don't own anyone and you are not responsible for their actions as well. If somebody wants to cheat on you, they will do it no matter what. You can't change that, you can't change people, and once you understand and accept that, you can let go of trying to control situations. Basically, don't be a control freak, that's all I'm saying. That used to be a big stress factor for me, and I feel like it's not anymore. Maybe you think you love someone, but if they are shitty to you, or the opposite way, you are shitty to them because of your own issues, you have to learn to either let go or work on yourself. Not everyone will stay in your life forever, and that's okay. It's good enough that they were in your life in the first place. There are probably hundreds of other things for my 20s that I can turn into life lessons, but I don't want to sound too preachy, so thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you liked the video. If you did, consider clicking the subscribe button, the like button, and I will see you next time. But until then, ciao.